I will say this with Zemo, I get what they were trying to do to a degree, which was, remind you that this character has gone through a lot where he lost his family, remind you of Sokovia, remind you as well a couple of times that there is a monument. Yes. So remember when Bucky goes and finds Zemo, he's at the
Sokovia monument,
right? Which I wish, this is going to sound terrible, but I kind of wish that they took a page out of Schneider's book of making the shot a little bit longer so you kind of understood where you were, as opposed to, I think the shot starts with Bucky walking up, Zemo's in the foreground, but you can't tell it's him, and then you cut to the reverse shot, and then you cut to a wide, and then you can kind of see, but it's very, very quick.
A lot of the shots, at least for this show, have been kind of generic. Like, I made the joke last week about, like, the Wakanda scene was kind of shot on a soundstage, but, like, that probably was. Like, these are all, they're all kind of, like, they're kind of all generic and don't necessarily, like, set you up to, like, oh, this is Sokovia, where we've been before in Age of Ultron. Oh, this is Wakanda, where we've been before, in Black Panther and Infinity War. It's just kind of the generic Marvel stuff.
Honestly, so you're absolutely right. I would agree with everything that you said, and maybe the problem is in the title of the show potentially.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I personally really like John Walker and Zemo. In fact, without them, I think the show would be pretty boring, to be honest. I'm not sure how much more they would develop Sam and Bucky to make them more interesting, or what they would throw in to make them more interesting. It just be that might just be them being limited as characters, right? It's just they just haven't bothered to, which
they might be.
Yeah,
at least how they've been presented in the movies, right? They're not leading people.
They're one-trick ponies a little bit,
right? And so it's hard to kind of break that.
So the issue might be the title. In the title of the show, to be honest,
this show should.
When I say yes and no for Zemo, in terms of yes, because I've really enjoyed seeing him and seeing this side of him, but then also seeing some of those darker glimpses that he's not a totally different person from Civil War, even though that was the impression we sort of got the first time we saw him. Like the episode after that, I thought they really recaptured some of his. After that, they really recaptured some of his, Zemo-ness. And honestly, to be honest, I think to give him the full arc, you're right. They would have had to probably given him even more screen time to make it a nice, a nice whole arc in a show. Like they probably would have to make this like 2 more episodes. And he would have to get a bit more of a. Something. Well, he just ends up going to prison.
Yeah, I feel like.
Well, actually, he goes specifically to the Raft.
Yeah,
which makes me
not Wakanda.
No, Raft. To the Raft.
Yeah, what is that again?
So the Raft is the high impact, level security
Arkham,
prison.
Is it Arkham?
Well, it's underwater.
Yeah,
it's run by a specific character, the Secretary of Defense of the United States, known as Thunderbolt Ross, who, as we know, is a character from the Hulk. He's from Civil War. And he's also a character in the comic books that becomes the Red Hulk and the leader of the Thunderbolts. So they're probably setting up something.
Is that old guy?
Yeah, the old guy.
He's not very intimidating.
Yo, do some steroids.
Old people become
do some steroids and you'll be fine.
Sorry, I'm ageist.
But it's interesting that he's going specifically to the Raft.
It also kind of doesn't make sense.
A little bit.
If you ask me.
Why?
With the Dora Milaje, right? They wanted revenge. We're like, all right, we got him. So instead of taking him to Wakanda, we'll chop him up with the U.S. government.
But here's why it makes sense, though, right? Wakanda, at the end of Black Panther, opened up their borders.
Sure. They're part of the world.
They opened up their borders. They put themselves more in the international scale. So to make it work, they had to, put him in an international
They need Zemo to be able to come back. And the Raft, you've already proven within the MCU, is not hard to break out of, right?
Who broke out the Raft?
Captain America breaks in there with Falcon. Yeah, breaks all of them out.
And all of them, and all of those characters out of the Raft at the
It's
end.
that prison from Civil War.
Yes.
Correct. And also putting him there lays out some story elements if they're going to do more with Zemo.
Do we know any other villains who are in the Raft currently?
We don't, but like you could assume they're like maybe the Abomination from the Hulk is in there, maybe some other
maybe Carly and her crew ends up in there.
Maybe Sharon Carter ends up there.